Surprise, surprise, guess who's back? Karibu sana, Ann.
Thank you so much.
These people had missed you, yani. Ati Anna kwa wapi, ndio huyu hapa.
Back to work.
Yes, karibu sana. This is the morning cafe at exactly what time? Today tumeanza mbwembwe kidogo, 4 minutes past 6. 28th of October 2025, 64 days left in the year, and while you're away, tuli drop below 60. 58 days to Christmas Day. Karibu sana, this is the morning cafe.
Oh,
my name is Freddie.
Wow, 54 days to Christmas.
58 days to Christmas.
58 days
if you've
to
not
Christmas.
been counting, let me keep you up to date.
All right, and the KJSA and KEPSA examination enters day 2 today. A few irregularities have been recorded. Some students have not been able to see the examinations. Of course, they're citing late registration and whatnot, and we'll be telling you more about that in the course of this conversation and the show. My name is Ann Odida. Good to see you again.
Yes, and indeed, we're talking about examinations today. KJSA, they're sitting for their mathematics paper this morning. Later in the afternoon, agriculture. For KEPSA, they're having integrated science this morning, and later in the afternoon, Kiswahili paper. KCSE, in the meantime, takes a one-day break. They'll be back tomorrow with the practicals. So let's take a look at the papers today, and the Taifa Leo imeanza na habari za kutoka kule Douala, Cameroon. Bia, rais mkongwe zaidi. Taifa Leo.
Daily Nation, Trump aid freeze triggers HIV crisis. 2
presidents so far, none Kenyan, on the front pages. Finally, we have our president there, People Daily. After Raila, can Ruto's Nyanza move rewrite Kenya's 2027 politics? People Daily.
The Star, Raila's succession, who will be next king of Nyanza?
Keep off politics, that's a big one, on the front page of the Standard.
And finally, Business Daily, Treasury moves to curb insurance payout denials.
All right, being a Tuesday, we'll be having these 4 gentlemen in studio to discuss the headlines. MP Embakasi North James Gakuya, Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui, political commentator Fwamba NC Fwamba, and former MP for Mwingi Central Joe Mutambu, for that conversation starting at 6:30. Later during the show,
being a Tuesday, we are talking matters business. We will be talking about unclaimed assets. Do you know that you might be having some money meka mahali, you forgot about it?
Imagine that. Uamuke tu mahali alafu ambaye by the kuna pesa zinakungoja hapa.
And do you know that there's an authority yenye ina deal na lost and found? Like lost, you lost your money and now they keep it for you like it's found.
Wow. By the way, I should follow this one. Eh?
That is the Unclaimed Financial Asset Authority. We'll be having the chairman here, that is CPA Dr. Francis Kigo Njenga.
Inamaanisha ni kama unaweza kuwa na bank account ulisahau mahali, alafu sasa wanakuambia hapana, ulisahau pesa yako fulani kwa account fulani ulifunga kitambo when you were a student. That money is still there.
Yes.
Please come for it. Please, it's your money, kujia.
A lot of money ziko pale, atakuja kutuambia. We're talking about 2025, around February hapo tulikuwa na 86.8 billion shillings unclaimed.
Wow. Na umekaa hapo umesota tu hauna pesa.
Umesota na uko na pesa
uko. Unaomba za cabbage kwa ex. All right, so those are the discussions on the show today, and we'll back take a look at the local dailies, but let's take a look at the regional headlines, and we start off in Tanzania, where it is only 24 hours to election day, actually less than 24 hours to election day. Funga kazi, ndo habari kuu kwenye kurasa mbele wa Mwananchi. Wanasema mchaka wa siku 61 za kampeni kufungwa rasmi leo. INEC mguu sawa kusimamia upigaji kura hapo kesho. Polisi yasisitiza usalama wa raia kila kona. Taasisi za umma zatakiwa kuruhusu watumishi kwenda kupiga kura walipojiandikisha. Na wengine ambao wanaosafiri wajipange. Mabasi, boti yakisitisha huduma za usafiri kesho. Wale ambao wamepanga kusafiri kesho kule Tanzania na wanaambiwa hata boti, hata basi zote zitasitisha usafiri. Kwa hivyo kama unapanga kusafiri, safiri leo. Utafungiwa, utapiga kura. Safari ya uchaguzi Tanzania tangu uhuru, sio Uhuru Kenyatta, uhuru wao, uhuru wa nchi. Walianza na Rais Mwalimu Nyerere, wakaenda kwa Mwinyi, Ali Hassan Mwinyi, wakaenda kwa Benjamin Mkapa, wakaenda kwa Kikwete, Magufuli, alafu sasa Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan. Je, itakuwa ni yeye baada ya kesho? Swali tu pale. Pale juu, habari nyingine ambayo iko kando na habari za uchaguzi, pale juu wanasema kuna bilioni 115 kufunga mfumo wa kidijitali kudhibiti ardhi kule Zanzibar. Gazeti la Mwananchi. Bado tunasalia kule Tanzania.
Tanzania ready for serene polls. And hii kitu iko na very
it's a very busy paper, this
very
one.
busy,
It's not
font
the
ni
usual.
ndogo. Daily news. Okay, this story has been covered on page 2 of this newspaper. Wanasema CCM loads supporters turnout ensures calm election. Lakini I've seen a lot of conversations online that Samia ana contest against herself.
Lakini unaangalia, you know, we've been looking at ile gazeti inaitwaje, The Citizen and Mwananchi, and in both papers they simply talk about President Samia Suluhu Hassan. This is a different paper, Daily News. Do you see any other candidate on the front page? Out of the 17 presidential candidates, it's only Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan who makes it to the front page. Jaribu kuweka candidate mwingine hapa, utaenda kusomewa huko.
Hapa hadi wameambiwa tangazo.
Anajua, lakini inaweza kuwa imelipiwa. Inaweza kuwa imelipiwa.
I've never seen anything like that even in Kenya.
No, people usually pay.
For real?
Yes, even hapa, but hata kama ni wao nalipa, pengine wengine hawajakubaliwa kulipa ukurasa wa mbele.
Gazeti la Habari Leo wanasema pazia la fungwa leo, vyama vyahitimisha siku 60 za kampeni za amani. CCM yasema Samia atawakomboa Watanzania. NLD yaahidi mkopo bila riba, makini uchumi wa Pareto. I saw somewhere, one of these newspapers, I think it's the People Daily, somebody commented there that Samia, ukiangalia pale contestants, ni Samia, Hassan na Suluhu, 3 candidates. Mgombea wa rais kupitia Chama cha Mapinduzi Samia Suluhu Hassan yuko hapa mbele akisalimia na kushukuru wananchi hapo jana waliofika kumpokea katika kiwanja cha ndege cha Mwanza.
Tulidhani tu ni magazeti yale tumezoea kuangalia, lakini leo tumeangalia magazeti tofauti. Kwenye ukurasa wa mbele hakuna mwania urais mwingine isipokuwa Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan. Tuende kule Uganda, and the Daily Monitor steers clear of matters politics today. They talk about crime. Iron bar gangs are back, causing mayhem. Police say they've arrested 86 suspects who are machete-wielding guns, launched fresh attacks across the Kampala metropolitan area, targeting homes and pedestrians carrying electronic gadgets and cash at night. It's a wave of crime in the capital city, Kampala. Machete-wielding gangs. Hawa tuliwaona some time back kule Mombasa. Kwa najiita makali kwanza ama kikali kwanza, something like that. Wanaenda tu na mapanga. Elsewhere matters health, 40 patients get free breast cancer surgeries in Mulago. That's the Uganda Cancer Institute in Mulago. That's another story there. Minister eats humble pie, reinstating the UNBS boss. And finally, Tanzania goes to the polls tomorrow. That it's mentioned there on the front page of the Daily Monitor. Apart from that, there's no politics on this front page of the Daily Monitor in Uganda. Ile siasa iko hapo ni ile ya Tanzania.
This cancer story is very important even to us Kenyans. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is almost over. Kindly go get your breast checked. Both men and women. And especially for men, it's actually worse for you guys, because it spreads even on the neck, those lumps, when it starts to grow.
Wow.
And I don't think most of the men know that.
It's a conversation that we rarely do have, but one that we should. Daily Monitor. Staying in Uganda.
Government to recruit over 600 midwives, and the number of workers increased to avert maternal deaths. Interesting. Museveni is here on the front page of this newspaper. He promises to recognize Indians as a tribe. All right. Kule juu 2026 candidates intensify hunt for votes. Bobi Wine yuko pale pia.
Kuna mmoja mpaka nimejua jina yake, anaitwa Mafabi. Huyu hapa anaitwa Mafabi. Hata huyu nafikiria anaitwa Mutabi ama kitu kama hiyo. Mutabi, Mafabi, Chagulani na Yoweri Museveni. At least in Uganda, you at least know the top 4 candidates. In Tanzania, apart from Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan, can you mention any other? Tundu Lissu is not vying for presidency.
Samia Hassan.
Mpina was denied. So who's the other presidential candidate in Tanzania? It's only the 4. Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan.
They're only going to ratify her. That's it. That's the New Vision. These are the regional dailies.
All right. We'll be back to take a look at the local ones in a short while. Let's take a look at the weather situation. A lot has been changing across the country. And let's start off in Homa Bay. A lot of rainfall. Yesterday kulikuwa na mvua ingine hii maeneo ya Kiambu na Kiambu Road huku. Kulikuwa na mvua ingine serious. Today we start off in Homa Bay, the Lake Victoria region. It's quite warm this morning, 21 degrees, feels like 24. It is a partly cloudy day, highs of 28 degrees, which is very warm. This promises to get cooler in the coming days, getting into the weekend. A lot of rainfall expected today, but for tomorrow. But for today, a bit, 1.9 in Homa Bay, highs of 28 there. Up north in Turkana,
It's 27 degrees this morning in Turkana, feels like 29. Light rain expected today. Precipitation here is 0.4 millimeters, highs of 34 degrees. Yeah.
Stark difference in Nyahururu, where it's quite chilly this morning, 12 degrees. I think this is the coldest we've seen so far. It is a cloudy day, definitely rainfall expected starting at around 1 p.m. A bit of rainfall even in the morning. Highs of 21 degrees, so it's a cold day in Nyahururu. 11.5 millimeters of rainfall expected there, which is the highest we've seen so far. Let's go down south to the coast.
26 degrees in Mombasa. It feels like 29 like Turkana. It's a cloudy day here. It's raining the whole day. Oh, wow. Highs of 27 degrees. Precipitation in Mombasa, 11 points.
Wow.
Is it
Even
Mombasa
higher.
or Nyahururu?
It's Mombasa. 11.7 millimeters of rainfall in Mombasa. I think it's even higher than what we've seen in Nyahururu, because Nyahururu should be about 11.5. Yes, so Mombasa will actually receive more rainfall today, which is the highest we've seen so far.
All right. Nakuru?
Nakuru, 14 degrees, which is a bit fair. Mostly cloudy, also a lot of rainfall expected there. Highs of 23 degrees. Precipitation here, 2.2 millimeters, much less than what we've seen in Nyahururu and even Mombasa.
Finally, weather in Nairobi, 17 degrees, feels like it. It's a mostly cloudy day, highs of 24 degrees, and precipitation in Nairobi, 4.5 millimeters. Hapo kuanzia saa saba hapo, beba umbrella, it will rain.
For the rest of the day, actually.
Yeah.
Wanasema leo ni 24 highs, lakini ikifika kesho ina drop to 21. So kesho mtaanza kuvaa sweater tena. So that's the weather situation across the country. Let's take a look quickly at the traffic situation in Nairobi. And after kumenyesha jana, leo utaona barabara ni kama huwa zinapata unyevu. So most motorists drive a bit slowly. Further, Tasia building up slowly, but nothing out of the ordinary. Pale Makadara Jogoo Road, it's getting busy. Just before you get to the City Stadium roundabout, as well as you head towards town, it's also getting busy. Haile Selassie Avenue, today it's busier than what we've seen this entire, for the last 2 weeks. Both sides of Haile Selassie Avenue between the railway roundabout and Landis Road roundabout is red this morning. Even the Pangani interchange is building up, and you can see it stretching far back into Thika Road. But Thika Road itself, kule juu ni kama kuna traffic sana from Ruiru down. Kiambu Road as well is looking good. The other major tributaries into town from Mombasa Road all the way from the airport into town, it's green. And this other side, Wayakiwe, Ngong Road, Southern Bypass and Langata Road looking green all the way. So probably it's not a very bad day in as far as traffic is concerned. You can get yourself to the CBD.
All right, let's have the quote of the day.
Always do your best. What you plant now, you will harvest later.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies in depth. Siasa za Cameroon zinapewa kipaumbele kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo. Wanasema Biya, rais mkongwe zaidi, rais mzee zaidi Afrika, Paul Biya, miaka 92, achaguliwa kutawala kwa miaka mingine 7 licha ya kuongoza Cameroon kwa miaka 40. Na one thing they say about this guy, they've not even seen him during election time. They've been using effigies and statues of him and posters, but the guy hajaonekana. Lakini wamempigia kura. Wengine wanasema he does not exist.
Oh, wow.
Rais wa Cameroon Paul Biya, ambaye ndiye rais mkongwe zaidi duniani, jana alitangazwa mshindi rasmi katika uchaguzi wa urais uliofanyika Oktoba 12 kuongoza kwa muhula wa 8. Alipata 53% ya kura zilizopigwa, huku mpinzani wake akipata 35.19. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili. Inasemekana sana yeye ukaa kule Switzerland. Kuna hoteli za kifahari kule Switzerland. Huko ndio anashughulikia masuala ya Cameroon.
Cameroonians are sleeping.
No, lakini wamepigia kwa mara ya 8 sasa. Tuwaambie ama tuwaache? tuache tu.
Watasema tunawaharibu. Tunaharibu Cameroonians.
Pale chini na masuala ya ODM. Jana kurasa zote za mbele zilikuwa zinazungumzia ODM. Walikuwa na mkutano pale. Alafu sasa wanaonekana hapa mpigwa picha wakitangaza msimamo. Kinara wa chama ODM aliyepia seneta wa Siaya Oburu Odinga pamoja na viongozi wengine wa ODM, namuona pia Edwin Sifuna, wakitangaza msimamo wa chama baada ya mkutano wa dharura ulioandaliwa hapo jana. Pale juu masuala ya mtihani, mwanafunzi wa Lamu kufanyia mtihani rumande ni katika kisa cha polisi kumnasa kwa sababu ambazo hazikutolewa. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa 5. Kumbuka mitihani ya KJSEA, KPSEA na hata KCSE zidi kuendelea. KJSEA wakifanya mtihani wa hisabati au mathematics ukipenda. Ulikuwa unajua inaitwa hisabati. Yes. Agriculture baadaye leo. KPSEA wako na integrated science, hiyo sijui kwa Kiswahili inaitwaje. Na Kiswahili chenyewe baadaye leo. KCSE leo ni kama hawana mtihani wowote, lakini watarejea hapo kesho. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
Daily Nation. Trump aid freeze triggers HIV crisis, and US President's USAID funding cuts have significantly impacted Kenya's HIV treatment program. Patients previously receiving 6-month anti-retrieval supply, that is ARVs, now get fewer drugs, forcing frequent hospital visits and increased costs. Viral load testing, once free, now cost up to 3,000 shillings. They say decades of HIV progress could be wiped out, according to this newspaper. Like in there's a time, sometime this year, the government, the Ministry of Health had assured the country and people who have the virus that kuna enough ARVs for them. But according to this newspaper, that progress could be wiped out. Shutdown of the US Agency for International Development disrupts healthcare plan. That is the main headline on the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. That story on KJSEA, KPSEA, smart padlocks securing largest national exam. And this is according to the Kenyan National Examination Council, which has introduced smart padlocks to secure 250 of the 642 containers storing examination materials across the country. ODM moves to preempt post-Raila power feud. Lakini ODM has suffered since Raila died. Kila siku ODM. Can they mourn?
No, probably it just goes to show how consequential this party is.
It
that
is.
Whatever they do between now and 2027 will be of great consequence to Kenyan politics.
Yes, and they say the Senator Oburu Odinga chaired at the first meeting of ODM's key organ, that is the Central Management Committee, yesterday as the interim party leader. Other quick headlines here. Beer, 92 years, wins eighth time. Potato. In Cameroon, sparking riots. Oh, they're rioting. Ama we are rioting on their behalf.
Sijui niseme lakini anyway.
Labda wako sawa na sisi
Might be seeing another state event very soon.
And detectives turn to 7 phones in 8 billion shillings drug bust probe. That's the Daily.
Hisi kipindi wanatuambia simu 7 sasa, hizi ni vipindi. Anyway, that's the Daily Nation. Back page ya Daily Nation nazungumzia nini? Maswala ya sporti, 2025 CAF Confederation Cup. Kenyan team guaranteed at least 52 million shillings for reaching group stage of tournament. Kuna pesa mingi pale, lakini walikuwa wanasema Starlets pia ni kama wali progress mahali. Nao hawakupewa zile nyumba za affordable housing. Kwani kuna mapendeleo?
The promise was money.
All right, so that's the Daily Nation. Tuende kwa People Daily. An analysis of President William Ruto, and now, because this, and you realize that following the passing on of the former Prime Minister, this has been the biggest debate. What next? What happens? The aftermath. So after Raila, can Ruto's Nyanza move rewrite Kenya's 2027 politics? That's a big question. We have images of some of the big wigs from Nyanza, and as far as politics is concerned, the ODM chairperson was the governor for Homa Bay, Gladys Wanga, CS for Treasury, John Mbadi, and CS in charge of energy, Opiyo Wandayi. And this could just be some of the consequential movers and shakers of Nyanza politics. But then again, this is very sad and probably a bit disappointing that after Raila, who was a very national leader and who enjoyed support from across all regions of Kenya, now we're just looking at ODM and after Raila as a Nyanza issue. Yeah? That just looking at, okay, Ruto and what he's doing in Nyanza. Surely he should be doing, whoever wants to inherit the kind of support that Raila had, should be going all over the country, not just in Nyanza. Anyway, that's just me. People daily.
They're saying that Ruto might pick these three as a running mate in 2027. According to this newspaper, you know, I saw Nyanza and I was interested. Wakasema sisi sasa ni mayatima. Like, you know, people daily.
Is it the only way to get support, Raila Odinga support, that you have to get a running mate from Nyanza?
Imagine they won't.
Anyway, people daily.
The Star, Raila's succession, who will be next king of Nyanza? Seasoned and youthful contenders vying to inherit his mantle. Oburu Oginga is at the center of all these suckers. Lakini, everybody, bigwigs ready for the brawl. John Badley, Treasury CS, Gladys Wanga, Babu Owino, and Opio Wandayi. Bigwigs ready for the brawl. All of them are scrambling for Nyanza. But you know that that's not how you grab Nyanza. They should have learned from Raila.
Even if you grab Nyanza, because they say Raila's support, Nyanza contributed a fraction to that. It was not the only support base. He enjoyed a lot of support from Western Kenya. He enjoyed a lot of support from the coast region, even Ukambani. Why are you just going for Nyanza? Or even if you became the Nyanza kingpin, does it mean you'll deliver more? Anyway. Interesting, but you've seen two papers talking about that, meaning that this is a big discussion. Yeah.
Other quick headlines here. Kenya trails Tanzania in economy, according to a report by the AU. University student turns pineapple waste into Port's organic manure, special feature there. That's the Star, fresh, independent and different. It's not for sale today. There's another story up there. Ineligible accountants signed off public's billions. That's according to CPA, and I think it's in line with the conversation you're going to have. Yes,
remember that when it's a free copy of the Star, it comes with a complimentary MyGov pull-out for government tenders and job opportunities. Grab yourself a copy of the Star. It's free today. Keep off politics, that's a standard, and they talk about abuse of office. Cabinet secretaries have been traversing the country in full campaign mode, using public resources and state platforms to drum up support for UDA candidates in the ongoing by-election campaigns and President William Ruto's 2027 second-term bid. The campaigns have drawn senior public servants, including those that hold offices that the Constitution determines to be purely apolitical. Now, LSK wants a court determination to bar them from active politics, arguing that such behavior is partisan, a case of misuse of public office, making them unfit to serve all Kenyans. Wamekwa hapo sura zao hapo mbele, wasipende, Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary, ule mwingine wa Interior Kipchumba Murkomen, ule wa Health Aden Duale, hata IG wa Police Douglas Kanja yuko pale. Alafu hapa chini gazeti na boost kidogo. Jana they went to this headline, trapped in Russia, talking about Kenyans who are actually fighting for Russia in the Russian-Ukraine war. And after that headline, the government came out and said, yes, it's actually true. It's actually true, there are some Kenyans there. So amekuja kubrag that, yes, we were right. Wakawekea headline hapo alafu asema, yes, our citizens have been lured into the Russian war against Ukraine, says Mudavadi, who's in charge of foreign affairs. So hapa chini, igazeti leo wanataka kuturingia vile they got it right. On the back page, Kipchoge eyes another glorious moment as he races in New York. Hey, and you've seen Eliud Kipchoge, juzi watu walikuwa wanamwambia online, you need to retire, you need to allow young people. Akaambia hapana, this is what I do. Yeah, this is what I like. This is my life. Mbona waniambia nikae chini? And then again, if young people are able to, si waende tu wakimbie. Mimi sijaambia mtu asikimbie. By the way, Kenyans are very entitled. At they determine when you retire. Mie bu jaribu kuniambia siku ile nitaretire. I will defy all of you. Nitakaa hapa mpaka nifike 92 kama Paul Biya. Mutadu.
You'll cling to that seat.
Kipchoge eyes another glorious moment as he races in New York. That's a big one on the back page. That's a standard.
Finally, Business Daily, Treasury moves to curb insurance payout denials. This is interesting and inakuhusu sababu. If at all you're involved in an accident where the driver had expired license, now you will qualify for insurance compensation under proposed rules that also allows customer with unpaid premiums to enjoy this coverage. Asa kama umeumia in that accident, insurance itakulipa.
You know, the headline yesterday on the Business Daily had something different, still about insurance. And they were talking about how insurance firms are denying or declining to pay enough claims. I think on such excuses that, or the driver of the offending vehicle had his license expired, so we won't pay you who was a victim of that accident. Yeah. So many claims amounting to about 36 point something billion shillings had been declined. Yes. Alafu insurance firms wana declare to profits.
Yes.
So ameambiwa walipo waache maneno yao.
Now there's a proposed rule to let them pay you. Other quick headlines here. 20 companies fined 2.2 billion shillings for keeping unclaimed cash. And 15 of the 20 companies have been fined at least half of the value of assets they failed to transfer to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFA.
Yes.
According to disclosures by the Auditor General.
You should actually ask the chairman this question. How many people do actually comply with this requirement?
Yes.
That they actually declare that hizi pesa si zetu, kuna watu wamekosa kuja kuchukua.
Yeah. Candidates sit inaugural KJSE test. The Tika Solar Farm takes on Mkopa with assembly plant, and Kenya Wealth Fund barred from local bonds and stocks. That's the Business Daily.
All right. Once again, a reminder that this gentleman will be in studio to help us discuss the headlines. James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, Wakili Harrison Kenyanjui, political commentator Fwamba NC Fwamba, and former MP Mwingi Central Joe Mutambu. Do stand by for that. That conversation about the unclaimed financial assets will be coming your way at 8 a.m. this morning. Kuna pesa kule nje na wewe unakaa hapo uko broke. Ujui uliwachiwa pesa mahali.
Pesa yako.
Pesa ni yako. Ama ulipoteza simu, hiyo account ukazima, hata hiyo pesa inafaa iende kule. All right. Tuangalie wachoraji wanasema nini. Kumbuka kule Tanzania tunahesabu masaa kabla waende kuchagua mama. Hakuna mwingine wanachagua. The cartoon on the Star today, we start off there and back to the drawing board. That's what they're saying, and we have a raft of politicians here. Wanachora ni kama wanapanga vile elections zitaenda. Alafu I like the way they portray Sifuna. Anangoja tu. Munasema nini? So back to the drawing board, and I think they're referring to everyone, not just ODM. There's a president, even Makoure is there. Back to the drawing board. Kwanza yeye alikuwa anajua bas amefika. Sasa back to the drawing board. Even ule jamaa Mulima, back to the drawing board. Everyone. That's a cartoon on the Star.
People Daily. A voter registration exercise is ongoing, lakini IEBC relax. New voters wanakuja tu kwa inaitwaje? They're taking their sweet time.
Remember, by the way, as of today, it's exactly a month to the by-elections. November 27th, today is October 28th. Exactly a month to the by-elections. All right. The one on the Standard, they talk about ODM. And this vehicle is the party and the Central Management Committee. Inatoa moshi ingine serious because that there are wrangles in uko ndani within the party. And nasema as they go towards 2027, they're denying the existence of a crisis. What crisis, they ask? Lakini huku nyuma, story ni tofauti.
Finally, Daily Nation, stronghold on power. Huyu ni Bia. Amekwamilia hiyo kiti for 40 years. Hataki kuacha.
Hapa huyu mchoraji hapa is being very interesting. Unaona hii kiti vile inakaa? Imekuwa kama ile kiti imewekwa mrefu ni kama amelala. It's like he's lying in state. Lakini very interesting that every time you talk about Paul Biya, you talk about his wife Chantal. Chantal has a very elaborate hairstyle. Hata ndio hii inaonekana huku. Hata asipoonyesha sura tunajua ni yeye anamchora. Chantal Biya. Eighth term. Ni mnaongea kuhusu one term, two term, au eighth term. All right, so those are the conversations we'll be having here with my panelists in a short while. Meanwhile, you can interact with us through our social media pages. TV47 Digital on X.
TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. See you after the break.
My handle on X is at Fred Indimuli. Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47.
excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Oma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Mimi simpa. Hiyo naona nakubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Farika tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Farika is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Ani wewe furahia umekaa na kasipuni.
CP unit ni Punet. So you guys knew about Piga. Sawa basi. Nasema nata ungeve the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You'll have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll get more juice from the lemon with way less effort.
Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday every Wednesday 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Morning Cafe.
Your nose alone won't always tell you if your eggs have gone bad. To find out, gently place uncooked eggs in a bowl of cold water. If an egg sinks to the bottom, it's A-OK. If it floats, it's seen better days.
After weeks of political speculation and whispers of division within the Orange Democratic Movement, the party's top brass has come out to project a united front. In a statement read by Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, ODM dismissed reports of internal wrangles as baseless, insisting the movement remains firm, focused and loyal to the ideals of its departed leader.
ODM's biggest problem now will not be which faction is winning against which one, or whether indeed there exist factions within the party. Today, the Central Committee of the party has met and laid a firm foundation of unity upon which we can build on moving forward.
That declaration, viewed as the clearest signal, yet positions ODM as a key pillar in sustaining the peace accord forged between Raila Odinga and President William Ruto's administration.
We reiterate the commitment of the party to the broad-based government until 2027, a relationship guided by the 10-point agenda entered into for the sake of peace and stability of the country.
Sifuna also confirmed the endorsement of Senator Dr. Oburu Oginga as party leader, saying the move reflects continuity within the Odinga family and ensures the party's stability in a post-Raila era.
We commit here in unison that, as we did during the funeral, that we will not be responsible for any breakup in the party or any unnecessary political turbulence that runs counter to Jacom's dream.
However, Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya has claimed that he is the rightful successor to the leadership of the ODM party, insisting that he has served as Raila's deputy for many years.
Mimi nimekuwa naibu wake kwa miaka 13 kama deputy. Na kama baba ameenda, nani amebaki? Sasa wewe ukiwa baba ya watu unaweza kuja hapa upakue.
But ODM's history has not been short of turbulence, from the 2008 coalition fallout to the 2017 NASA breakup. Yet the party has consistently emerged intact. Now, attention shifts to ODM at 20 celebrations set for mid-November in Mombasa, alongside nationwide memorials to honor Raila Odinga's contribution to democracy, equity and inclusion, as ODM repositions itself for a future without its founding icon. Its next chapter, one of unity and continuity, could define the country's political direction in the years ahead. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Yes, ODM and the politics surrounding that and the succession of Raila Odinga. Still dominating the headlines, and as far as politics is concerned, at least two of the dailies, that's the People Daily and the Star, talking about the same thing. On the People Daily, after Raila, can Ruto's Nyanza move rewrite Kenya's 2027 politics? That's a question there on the front page of the Star. Let me get the right one here. On the front page of the Star, they talk about Raila's succession. Who'll be next king of Nyanza? And there's a question there on whether or not Raila's succession is only about Nyanza politics. But anyway, allow me to welcome my panelists this morning to help us discuss this. Fwamba NC Fwamba, political commentator. Good morning, karibu sana.
Good morning, Fred, and good morning, viewers.
Yes, alongside Fwamba, we have James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North. Bwana Gakuya, karibu sana.
Thank you.
We expect that hopefully two other gentlemen will be joining us as we continue the conversation. But Fwamba, from your end, even as you observe all these discussions and the trajectory that they're taking, do you feel like probably we are getting it wrong? Because ODM is one of the biggest parties and it's funded by the state. Do you feel that probably we are getting a bit distracted by other things as we try to map the way out following the death of Raila Odinga?
Of course, what we usually say from where I come is that when people mourn in any style, and the country continues mourning Honorable Raila Odinga, particularly ODM, is still bereaved. And there's that confusion because Raila was a larger-than-life figure, not easily replaceable. So within that confusion, there's a lot that is being forgotten, and people are more focusing on succession other than the real issues that the country is supposed to deal with. For example, I think I've seen politicians trying to position themselves, including during the morning period. I saw a certain politician going to the morning place during the funeral of Honorable Raila Odinga with about 15 bulls. And there, in his own mother tongue, he was saying that he had gone to reclaim the leadership. So I was wondering how that will be translated, if it gets translated to those people who had been bereaved, that's what he was saying in the name of mourning, how it will feel, how it will not augur well.
Yes.
So unfortunately, that circus is continuing at all levels, and this so much about succession of Honorable Raila Odinga is taking too much time and too much airtime instead of people focusing on the issues.
Yes.
About the intrigues within ODM, I do not think if there is anyone who is strong enough to inherit Raila at this point, because getting a position to the position of the level of someone like Raila Odinga is not something that happens overnight. It's a long period that is and effort that is supposed to be in place. So it is likely that all those people who are trying to jostle and position themselves as heir apparent or what are not likely to emerge as the leaders within ODM and even within Luo Nyanza, because I've seen there are two aspects of Raila inheritance. That there is Luo Nyanza politics, and then there's national ODM politics. Therefore, I do not think if it is clear yet to know who is likely to be on the forefront of taking over from Raila Odinga.
Definitely the exit of Raila Odinga is going to be of huge consequence, not just for ODM and the Nyanza region, but across board. And I think one of the cartoons, that's a cartoon on the Star, paints that picture that back to the drawing board, everyone across board, Bwanagakuya, across the political divide, has been sent back to the drawing board. Even as the ODM scrambles to find who will succeed Raila Odinga, even you on the other side, who are not directly in ODM or working with ODM, now you have to find a new way of working towards probably the kind of goals you had. In a month's time, there's a by-elections, and then 2027 is coming. Do you agree that, yes, Raila Odinga's exit has sent you back to the drawing board?
Thank you, Idimbodi. Allow me to salute viewers wherever they are watching this morning show from. Coming to Raila succession matter, I would on the outset say that, yes, BAMBA is gone. But one thing is that there is what we call party structures. And the party structures ought to be so firm that the structure will be able to succeed as lungs are well clustered. Well, whenever you have a party leader, and that particular party has a deputy party leader, automatically, if a succession is supposed to run as the structures are based on the party line, automatically the deputy party leader ought to fill the gaps of the party leader. And therefore, there was a serious mistake when Oburu was nominated, and probably in the absence of NDC as per se, and they are in the party structure. Probably there was somebody who was carrying the tag or the mantle of the deputy party leader. And therefore, whoever was the deputy party leader will feel as if he's totally toothless in the party if the consideration was done, probably in his absence or in his presence, but not considers to take over. That's a big hole. And I would say, going forward, political parties should learn to be strong and having strong party structures that can be able to succeed freely without a lot of interference.
Is there any single party, even beyond ODM, that you think has that kind of structure currently? That even your own party, UDA, you're a member of UDA, right, currently. Do you feel there's that kind of structure?
In fact, the problem is that most of the party leaders do not want to have those strong deputy party leaders. And what happened is that most of the parties does not have that position of the deputy. And when there is a lacuna with, on a structure where there is no deputy leader, and probably you have two party chairmen or two deputy party leaders, then it's a confusion. Because there is no party leader number one, party deputy leader number one or number two. And therefore it brings a confusion in terms of succession. Let us agree that in fact nobody was expecting Raila Odinga to pass as that came without expectation. But in fact, parties should be more strategic and more focused on its structures so that the succession cannot bring issues in the party at any time when any position of the party has a loophole. That loophole should be filled as per the structures of the party. Right. And therefore, we will be able to preempt many politics after. I would say, yes, in terms of reorganizing ourselves, nobody who is a political player, where Raila has strength, will not have to plan to plan, because Raila was a strong giant politically, and probably for those who are very close to him, in terms of numbers, he really commands numbers. Even in this city, I would also tell you that in fact you cannot be able to discuss and cast matters to do with the future of Nairobi politics without the element of Raila factor.
Yes. If we may focus on Nairobi, for example, do you see that changing the game completely now?
Today, let me say, where the crack seems to be now appearing is the point where Raila as a giant has not left behind already a nurtured appointment in the city. We would say that, in fact, yes, the city has a Secretary General, who is Sifuna, who feels to be comfortable. But in terms of matter to do with Nairobi governance, in terms of maybe to do with the gubernatorial positions, that particular seat was bringing some different kind of signals. Because Sakaja was a reliant, and almost 100% reliance on succeeding from his second, or securing his second term through BAMBA route. But now in the exit of BAMBA, then that window is not there. Okay. And it was so difficult for him to convince the now team, which is now in charge, to the position where his relationship with the BAMBA was left. And going forward, also there was issues to do with now the youngsters, like Babu Owino. Babu Owino, his relationship with Baba, in terms of succession in the city as a gubernatorial candidate, it has issues. And Bamba's signals were that if we know you want to look for governor, go to Kisumu. Yes. But today, things may change, because if Sifuna is going to remain strong as the Secretary General, and with his good rapport with Babu Owino, probably he will pressurize the party to allow Babu Owino to run for the city. All right. This will also bring issues, because we have Kidero, who is also seems to have coming up, and of which I don't know his power and how the party will decide. But that will remain. That is a business that will remain to the party structure, and the party will decide.
You also have aspirations for the same. Are you changing your plan now?
In terms of my camp is totally different from the ODM camp, and there's now major cracks there, because in terms of how politics the dynamics have not changed, because most likely the followers of Raila Odinga will still remain in the party if the party is not going to split. And probably I have never counted my supporters from that particular aspect. I will still lie and creep behind from where I belong. And I will just leave the stage of ODM to be the way it is. In fact, because for sure, I have never, in my ambition, I know there is the stronghold of the ODM.
Yeah.
And that one,
it does not affect you.
Honorable Gakuyu is actually making his case as a candidate. You see that? He's trying to arrange his arithmetic on how he's likely to win.
No, what I'm saying, in fact, even by when my ambitions arises, it is when Raila was alive. So I was not caring whether the ODM is still in charge of the city or not. But I had my own ways on how to look for the numbers. And I will not change my route. My route will still remain.
All right. Allow me to welcome this other gentleman into the discussion, Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui. Karibu sana and good morning.
Good morning.
Also joining us is Joe Mutambu, former MP Mwingi Central. It's good to have you in studio, sir. Karibu.
Good to see you again.
And gentlemen, of course now, a lot of the different strands that imagine as far as the aftermath of the exit of a titan, a political titan, Raila Odinga from the stage, are now beginning to emerge. Of course, if you look at the dailies, they talk about the succession in Luo Nyanza. Both the Star and the People Daily are focusing on that. Who's going to take over Nyanza province? There are those who are talking about who's going to take over the ODM party. Interesting how the Nairobi politics are going to change. Do you think there's another strand that you're not seeing, that there could be another angle to it that probably will emerge or will unfold in the coming days, in as far as the aftermath of what we've just been through?
I think, thank you very much. In my view, this is just the calm before the storm. It will fragment. The fragmentation of ODM, in my humble view, is inevitable. Why? Three factors. Now, you can hear the voice of Oparanya in the background. Honorable Oparanya is saying that, look, I have been Raila's supporter. I have been by his sidelines. I've been out there to advise him. I am the chief successor, and I ought to be recognized as that. What is he saying? In a nutshell, I do not recognize Oburu Odinga. I'm not going to accept his leadership of ODM. Right beside that, you have Honorable Babu Owino. What is he saying? I'm the kingpin. I ought to be recognized as a kingpin. And anybody else voicing differently should not be recognized as a kingpin. So that is a subterranean voice that is going on. And then we have these other people in Luo Nyanza who are saying that then I ought to be recognized. Let's not forget that there is a slew of these leaders who owe their leadership or whatever position they hold to Raila Odinga, not necessarily because that they were popular on the ground, but because they were propped up by Raila's ODM with his backing and support. So going forward, there are people who will no longer see the Raila support as capable of propping up these leaders. And we're going to see, going forward, because you asked going forward, we will see a huge fallout. And let's remember, the declaration yesterday that, we're in the broad-based, bread-based, or whatever-based government, is going to saddle, it's going to weaken the support that these individuals, let's not look at the political party ODM, but the individuals on the ground, because regardless of your political affiliation, you as a Kenyan, the average Kenyan person, is facing an economic, a social, difficult position, which ODM has not articulated, how they will disentangle themselves as we head towards 2027 from the burden of the Kenya Kwanza government being the orchestrator, or should I say the aiding and abetting agency of this hardship, because they have not come up with solution. You would imagine that the addition of ODM into UDA's political paradigm would enlarge or somehow make Kenya Kwanza government much more responsive to the needs of the Kenyan people, much more of, should I say, government that has policies that are people-oriented. The opposite seems to be the truth. So why do I say that? Because that now works to militate against these individual ODM members, trying to appeal to the Kenyan people going forward that, look, we as the ODM have done our very best to ameliorate your suffering, to make your living better on the ground. The Kenyan people will tell them, but look, hey, wait a minute, I didn't see a difference. What I saw was a worsening of my situation. So I think this is headed the Ford Kenya way. And I think the lessons from Ford Kenya never seem to have been learned with the ODM experience. And if you look at the body language of those who attended the meeting, of the hierarchy, the highest echelon of ODM, it tells you that there are these undercurrents. Each of them is bearing and probably projecting, but somehow hedging, protecting. And they don't want to project that, look, I am not for this broad-based. I am not for it. And I want to preserve my political career. I want to preserve my future in the political paradigm. Like Mheshimiwa Gakuya has said, you can see Honorable Kidero is right there behind, in the shadows. But is he going to remain silent? And I think as we go forward, you will see individuals who will steer away and break off from ODM because they are more concerned about preserving their future. Because you can see their own personal credibility is going to override the need, quote unquote, to preserve ODM.
Oh, yes. Indeed, it could be a fight for survival for everyone. And whether or not there are opportunities for others there, especially for those in the other side of the political divide. When Mutambu, you'll be telling us more about that. I don't know if we're due for a break right now or just continue the conversation. Yes, I thank you for that, because Bwana Mutambu, there must be an opportunity also. There must be people on the other side who are seeing opportunities with the kind of potential cracks, a vacuum that has been created, an opportunity for another big, huge leader probably to ascend to the level that Raila Odinga had gotten to. These are possible other strands that may be direct results of what we've seen with the exit of Raila Odinga. We are not talking about that, but the cartoonist on the Star talks about everyone going back to the drawing board. We are focusing too much on ODM. But even on the other side, there must be some dynamics that are changing as well.
It is a complete paradigm shift in Kenyan political history or political space, if so to speak. When you say another person emerging where? And in respect of what? If it is in respect of ODM, there is no ODM.
No, I'm talking about the other opportunities on the other side.
Yeah, I'm coming there. ODM was Raila. Raila was ODM. Where is Raila today? I don't want to talk about that. We all know what happened and where he is. So where is ODM and who will be ODM today? You see, we have leaders who are coming up and claiming to be now who want to take over. But like Wakil has said, the lesson learned from, was it Fort Kenya?
No lesson learned. No lesson learned.
And that's why you see there are some parties in Nyanza province. But do you hear about them? No. There are some parties in Western. What impact do they have? Who dominates the politics of, or who dominated the politics of Nyanza? It is Raila. Raila had more members of parliament in Western than the kingpins of Western. He had more members than Wetangula. He had more members than Mudavadi. He had more members than Wetangula, Mudavadi, I don't know, Dab, I don't know what you call them, all combined. Mm-hmm. What does that tell you? Raila was an enigma. And to replace him with another person, and to build this party wiper, ODM, it will be next to impossible. Because ODM was an individual who carried the support of people. You know, party is not a person, party is members. And who are the members of ODM? It is the grassroots support of the voters. Those are the people who carry the weight of the party. And those people were not following not other than Raila. They were followers of Raila, not anybody else. So everyone now will go to their own cocoon state or village and have the support. But to amalgamate all that support to one unit, it will be quite impossible. And that is where now the advantage will come to the people who are now on the periphery, who are hiring now to be either the leaders of this country. They want to cultivate on that. They want to go and see now there is an opportunity here. There is a vacuum, and I want to come in. And you cannot say that Nyanza will only remain in ODM, or they will not listen to any other person from outside. You saw when Wamunyoro went there. He received, and for one thing, we need to understand the culture of our Kenyan people. And Kenyans from that side, they are welcoming. They don't care who you are. They give you that support. What they do on the ballot is something else, but they are welcoming. They don't chase you away when you go to see them. And yesterday, I think I had a junior saying, everybody is welcome to come and grieve with us. So unlike what people think about the followers of Raila, these are people now who have been left vulnerable. And the so-called leaders who are coming up to fit in the shoes of Raila, it will be next to impossible. So yes, there will be opportunity out there. There will be doors open. And people like Mutambo aspiring to be the president of this Kenya will go there and talk to those people. And you will see people shift their minds because now the person they believed in is no longer there.
Yes.
And to transfer that...
Are you aspiring to be president?
I think that was a declaration that he actually aspires to be.
I'm yet to declare. But when the time comes, I'll let you
gentlemen, there's one issue, one area that appears to be ignored in this whole discussion, one region, if we may talk about that. Because one of the areas, and when Mutambo has mentioned where Raila enjoyed a lot of support, is Western Kenya. But we are seeing more and more that the conversation about Raila's succession has moved on from Western Kenya. We're talking more about Nyanza province, and we're talking about, the former Nyanza province or Nyanza region. But what happens to Western Kenya now? Most of those leaders who are complaining about the succession in ODM, curiously, come from Western Kenya.
First of all, I'd like to take the issue with what Wakili said as far as ODM position on broad-based government is. According to me, I believe every political party operates on the basis of the best interests of their membership and the best interests of the party. You see, the position of being in broad-based was initiated by Honorable Raila Odinga, and that's why he left them. And according to their thinking, that's the best arrangement for the political party. That's why Honorable Sifuna was reading that statement yesterday. Now, about Western, I also take it back to the 1994 Jaramogi Oginga Odinga succession. Remember, the Odinga family has heavily invested in politics since independence. And they know, they have learned from past mistakes or past misfortunes. For example, based on the structured succession of 1994, Honorable Wamalwa Kijana the late, who was first vice chairman of Ford Kenya under Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, became automatically the successor to Jaramogi. And Raila, having felt that that was his birthright, decided to fight against Wamalwa, causing the divisions within Ford Kenya. And Raila ended up making his own, creating his own NDP and seeking presidency using that ticket in 1997. So it is that progressive growth from 1997 that made Raila the Colossus that he became up to the time of his demise. And it's on that basis that I think the Odinga family in particular, because politics is about interest, in the name of safeguarding their interest, is why they settled in Oburu Odinga. But now settling on Oburu Odinga automatically alienates the bigger constituency. Now, like the Luyas, we've seen Honorable Paranya declaring that he has been the longest serving deputy party leader, and therefore he was entitled to become the automatic successor to Raila Odinga. Even by the time Honorable Raila Odinga was during his last days, it was so evident that the convincing power of ODM was waning, because Western has had so many political parties right now emerging, and there is also consolidation of support. Like you see Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, who was heading ANC and is now the Prime Cabinet Secretary, joined together with the Honorable William Ruto, the President, to have UDA, ANC to be part of UDA, to conglomerate it, to make it strong enough to be influential in Western. And I think that's what is being worked on. So every party is competing to get his own space in Western, and I've seen President Ruto has made a lot of headways, especially after joining hands with the Honorable Mudavadi to form UDA as one unit within Western. So ODM, as I may agree with the Honorable Mutambo, ODM does not have that strong convincing power in terms of political persuasion in Western as things stand today. And there's a likelihood that it will continue reducing in size up to the time of being like what Ford Kenya is today, based on those disagreements.
Yes.
But interestingly, I overheard the president declaring that he is willing to work with the ODM to the end, up to beyond 2027. And that means that even those guys who feel that they are orphans within ODM, they have someone to take care of them. So ODM orphans, I think, find a very safe haven under President William Ruto.
Yes, but there could be opportunity there even for the united opposition, the scramble for Western Kenya, given the kind of voting patterns they've had. They always called it the elusive Luya unity, that they've never voted as a bloc. And now with the exit of Raila Odinga, ODM may still be there, but the focus now is on Nyanza, not really Western Kenya. That is a big opportunity even for the side that you support right now.
What I would like to say on the onset is that the Raila's strong bases are going to face a lot of contest because he himself was able to keep those particular bases warm. But I don't see anybody who has the equivalent command going forward. And therefore, the first base that is going to split and the element of the strength of ODM is going to be to go down on almost half percent where it stands is Western region. Western region so far, even before the exit of Laila, the ground have changed. And there is that element of strong inroad of the opposition. And therefore, as much as the UDA, as the ruling party, will keep a very strong battle there. Still, if the opposition works its arithmetic well, it may split the region into half. The half may go to UDA, ODM. Because I'm finding a situation where still after 2027, there will still be some element of working together of the two parties, even after.
So UDA will still be strong even in...
What I'm saying is that, in fact, I am sure that William will still think to be the kingpin of the UDA, and he will keep on bringing in some parties affiliates. We have seen Kano now joining the partnership, and I'm very sure this particular marriage or partnership that Sifuna has told us that, in fact, it will exit by the 2027, most likely before that particular exit time. Ruto and some leadership within ODM will work for how ODM will either be in partnership come 2027 election. And that's where some element of split will be, because Ruto will not sleep. Ruto will work day and night to make sure that he still retain ODM in his side. That, I'm sure most of the supporters of ODM, especially leaders, will buy that idea. Right. And that way, in Western region, probably the battle will be opposition versus ODM, UDA together.
Okay.
And that battle, if the UDA, if the united opposition is not going to split, if it can land their programs united to the end, there is a chance of splitting the Western into two. Okay. Number two is that even the coast base is also a base that actually is open for battle, because Joho could be now the person who can be able to still carry the mantle there. But in fact, as much as Joho is a cabinet minister, probably he may not have a big room and say to the control of political field. And therefore, most likely, the united opposition also might split coast. Okay. Number two, the other thing is that also in Nyanza, if there can be a united opposition, don't think that in fact every Luo is going to support the fragmentation, or not going to support William Ruto re-election. There will also, the leaders might be united, but the voters might majorly split, and especially the youth, which might take also a stake, and including the region of the Ruokisi. That way, it means even the bloc of Nyanza might not be a bloc expected to be in support of William Ruto re-election. And therefore,
I disagree.
These are my views.
Yes.
But in this case, I'm saying most likely if Matiang'i is still going to be within the united opposition. Therefore, majority of cases will stand with the opposition. And therefore,
South Nyanza.
The strength that I was there before with Raila Odinga might shrink going forward.
Yes,
I disagree.
And I ask you, probably we take a look at the regions and not really the communities they're in, because they're not homogeneous. They vote.
But you can't dominate the podium.
Allow him very briefly.
Yeah, I can authoritatively say that Western is most likely to go to the William Ruto column. There's a very interesting narrative that the Honorable President William Ruto usually uses when campaigning in Western, that you are my neighbors and we're working together. And now with Mudavadi on board as part of the UDA arrangement, there's a very high likelihood that if they put efforts in place, Western is most likely to go 100% to William Ruto, and William Ruto, together with the Nyanza region, might use Western, Rift Valley, and Nyanza as block votes as it goes towards the next election.
Wakili, even as we look at that, yes, there's a Nyanza, Western, but there's also the coast region that Bonagakuya has talked about. And most people are not talking about that the coast region has basically had this love relationship with Raila Odinga, not really ODM, the party. Do you see that changing now?
It's gone. It's gone. Kaput. Absolutely. I mean, even I'm surprised by Mr. Fomba saying that, with Honorable Musalia, that the Luya will support this conglomeration of UDA and ODM. No way. I mean, look at Honorable Boni Khalwale. What is he saying? I may be in UDA, but look, I've shifted the ground because I want the realistic representation of my people. I mean, he has gone to the point of saying, okay, fine, you can do with whatever position that I hold in the Senate. I could probably, I'm not saying that he has come to that conclusion, I could care less, maybe not. But, the ground has shifted, and this is the problem of the mentality that my good friend here is positing. I mean, people are saying, I don't care about your political affiliation. Look, on the ground, things are different, and I want real change for me. Your formation of UDA, broad-based or bread-based or whatever it is not functioning.
That's a sweeping statement, not
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it for you. And so saying that they are banking on Honorable Musalia, I mean, this is living a fool's paradise with tremendous respect to them. Because Honorable Musalia, the moment he gave up his ANC, he got swallowed into UDA. What does he voice for his people? What does he articulate in terms of policies for his people? Even within the ANC, he could have said, I'm clutching onto it, I'm holding onto these policies, and therefore I'm bringing them on the table as UDA, articulate them. He hasn't. He doesn't do that. Look at what is happening to the sugar factories in his area. And you're like, excuse me, can you tolerate this and you call yourself a leader with a future? His people said, look, we are just getting unemployed. Off the block. I mean, we have absolutely no future in this scenario. We want someone who will revive the sugar industry. We don't want these sugar-coated in. How many bonuses did you see after that one single bonus that was supposed to be a bait for them? I mean, we haven't seen any. He hasn't voiced anything. So to say and bank on Honorable Musalia to say that, he's bringing the Luya community. I mean, let's have respect for the Luya people. The Luya people are just like any other Kenyan leaving 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, this period between 2022 and 2025, that look, my life has shifted negatively. The Luyas are not going to be in Honorable Musalia's or anybody else's pocket.
But even the ANC, when it was in existence, it did not even have that kind of support, even in Western Kenya, that ODM, for example, from where Musalia Mudavadi comes from, it's the ODM party that had the governor. It talks about how much influential Raila Odinga and the ODM party was, even while Musalia Mudavadi had his party there. For him to fold the party, and that's the argument. Where do we go forward from here?
But let me finish that point. With the exit of Raila now, what is the glue that is going to hold the Luya to the ODM? And does the ANC, Honorable Musalia, with his broken ANC, have anything to offer to them to say that we are coming onto the government. How about the new faces of Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, Honorable Natembeya coming up saying that, look, we want the Luhya community to have a say in government. So there will become a voice. So it is more of what Honorable Gakuya is saying, that you will see more of the opposition. And if the Southern Nyanza people decide that, look, we are done with ODM, because ODM now no longer has the force or the ability to propel us to any, future position. And given, I'll repeat that, I'll rehash that, I mean like ad nauseum, that the settling of ODM by UDA, Kenya Kwanza's, harsh economic policies, I mean, reckless and, sort of, snappy sort of policies, not anything coherent. It's like Kenya Kwanza never had a program, never had even a legislative agenda. You have these ad hoc laws that are passed, even including this conflict of interest. So I do not think, with tremendous respect, that is going to give them an opportunity to say that we remain in ODM and therefore we have a future in ODM.
Bwana Mutambo, for the last 3 elections, general elections, the region of Ukambani supported Raila Odinga, 2013, 2017 and 2022. With the exit of Raila Odinga, is it now clear that the support will not go towards where ODM goes?
I will answer that question in this form, and I want to give you some homework. I want you to ask yourself why ODM candidate has been winning in Nairobi. Why, that is governor, why ODM candidate has been winning in Mombasa. If you have any interest to understand, you will know why we've been having Kidero, we had Kidero. You will know why we had Songo. You will know why now we have Sakaja in Nairobi. You will know why Joe won 2 terms and now Abdul Samad won 1 term in Mombasa. You will know if you have any interest to understand. I don't want to be tribal, but I'm only saying the reason why, and I'll answer that question. With no wiper in ODM, ODM candidate stands very slim chances if numbers are anything to go by in Nairobi and in Mombasa. So that answers your question. That without wiper, let me say that, without wiper, joining hands with ODM, okay, it will be very difficult for any ODM candidate to penetrate in Nairobi. Likewise in Mombasa. And that's why you see clever politicians like Babu Owino is praising Kalonzo. That's why you see Ali Mohammed in Mombasa, he knows what he's eyeing for, and he knows where the numbers are. Because don't be cheated by anybody. Politics is about numbers. It is not about how well you are dressed, how good English you speak, how good Kiswahili you speak, how much money you have. It is numbers of people. And the moment people make a decision, we are voting on this way, on this block, then that is the way to go. I'll take you back a little bit to Nyanza and a question which Wakil posed here. Which glue will hold Western? Which glue? And I can tell you, there are those politicians you see today. I want you to understand that they also have opposition. And now those who've been opposing them, they felt that Raila has been favoring so and so, so and so. So the people who are in big trouble are the heads you see today in ODM. Because most of them, they've been surviving, clinking on Raila's court, and their opponent and the supporters of the opponent, they felt that this person is being favored by our leader, and because we respect and love him, we are going to go by what he has said. Not because they love him. And I can give you another good example, where I come from. There is a member of parliament who is elected not because people love him, but because people love Kalonzo. So based on that, he gets elected. So based on that, we've been having so many leaders in the parliament elected through the voice of one man. Okay? Now that voice is no more. What will happen on the ground? Let's look at the ground first. The ground will definitely shift. There will be fight between those who are been oppressed and those who have been now enjoying the support. Now it is not there. Sasa ni kumundu. No gloves now. It's me and you. Your godfather is not there. It's me against you and the people. So the people will say, we were with you because we respected our kingman. Now, okay, even though he's in the grip, but we feel that this is our voice, it's our time now to speak. And we are going to speak through the ballot. And through the ballot, we will show you who we associate ourselves with. That's why I'm seeing one man, Honorable Ruto, having a lot of trouble putting or making his ends meet. The only thing now remained with Ruto is to inflict fear to people that I have the government, I have the army, I have the police, and I cannot lose. I won when I was outside the government. Now I cannot. That is the narrative they are driving. But you go to the people, leave Musalia alone. The people Musalia represents, they are hungry.
Right.
And they have nothing in their pockets. They have nothing in their stomach. And let me tell you, there's nothing dangerous than an angry Muluya.
Wow. Yes. Allow me to sample some of the views before we take a short break. Online, people are also interacting with us and what we are discussing. John Down says ODM is not about Nyanza but Kenya. The most suitable person as at now is Edwin Sifuna, who can even contest for presidency under ODM in 2027. Then Sifuna and Babu Owino stand the biggest chance. Murugi Gitonga says. Freddie K.E. says, when did Nyanza get divided? Needs someone to unite. Kevin Wilson says Baba was a force. His reincarnation will be felt. Reincarnation? Okay, it will be felt in due course. None can forcibly try to fit in his shoes, but with time it will be naturally attested and manifested. Brian says Babu Owino 100%. Then with time he automatically will prove to be the kingpin. Remember, kingpin is not elected nor appointed. Pafras Barasa. Any politician who will stand against the 8 Bills family, go to the street and fight them until they are done away with, will become the king. Boni Kamau, definitely Omosh 1 hour. Omosh 1 hour. Okay. Sandra Inyanji. Baba Owino is the only ODM MP loyal to Baba over the years. He's demonstrated loyalty. He should take the mantle. Those others are tumbocrats. Olaka wa Eshinali, for now, is nobody until some coming years, when Nyanza itself will know how to drive. And quite a number of your feedback here. I may not be able to sample everyone's feedback. Hata mimi wakipenda wacha waniambie nihamie huko. Anaitwa Hesbon Nyakundi, hata anataka hiyo kazi. Emmanuel Aseno says absolutely no one. We need to be true to ourselves. No one, not even Babu. Raila was on another level. So guys, forget. Yes, just people sharing the answers to the question after Raila, who do you believe can unite and lead? This is Nyanza politically, but remember there are so many different strands. The coast, the support from the coast region, the support from Western Kenya, the support even from the Ukambani region that Raila Odinga really enjoyed. I don't know why even the dailies are just talking about succession in Nyanza politics. Yes, that is a debate. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we take a look at the other headline on the front page of the Standard. Keep off politics. Are public officers supposed to be getting involved in politics ahead of the by-elections or even 2027? You're watching Morning Cafe.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist, what is that word?
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe with me, Fred Indimuli. This is TV 47. I'm still in studio with former NC Fwamba, MP James Gakuya, Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui, and former MP Mwingi Central Joe Mutambu. We now want to focus on what is on the front page of the Standard. Keep off politics, that's a big headline. And images there of Musalia Mudavadi, Kipchumba Murkomen, Aden Duale, and the police IG Douglas Kanja. Now, some people have moved to court. The Law Society, as well as MP for Embakasi East, that's Babu Owino, challenging the involvement of these state officials in direct campaigns ahead of the November 27 by-election. Do you see a problem with this? Most of these are appointed by the president. Does that mean that therefore they have a role to play in supporting the president politically and publicly so?
During the regime of President Uhuru Kenyatta, I was an advisor to a cabinet secretary, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa. And one of the issues that emerged was this issue of ministers getting involved in politics. I remember, I think it was Kipchumba Murkomen who raised that issue that ministers are not supposed to be involved in politics. But this is how we responded, and I think that remains the most consistent argument, that the Constitution only talks about cabinet secretaries not being members of parliament, but cabinet secretaries' tenure is attached to the president. And therefore, they have the responsibility of articulating policy and implementing government programs in all parts of the country without necessarily looking like they're being involved in politics. Interestingly, it's not possible to 100% separate policy from politics or action, government action from politics. For example, if you are going to donate food, relief food, in a region that is having a by-election and you're a minister like in charge of special programs, you still be doing your work. Like you can go to another constituency and also articulate government policies. Say the government is working on affordable housing, talk about the implementation of the manifesto of the government. It's just a coincidence, so that cannot be interpreted as being part of...
What about Musalia Mudavadi's involvement in the campaigns in Malava constituency directly for the UDA candidate ahead of the by-elections?
He's been meeting stakeholders on the ground, just like any other government official.
Been addressing campaign rallies?
Remember, there was a time he was meeting teachers, and they were discussing issues concerning teachers. Like he can meet any other person from another constituency. That's part of his job as a cabinet secretary.
Campaigning for UDA candidate?
It is not campaigning. That is articulating government policy, sharing with the people what the government is doing.
Yes, Madagakuya. What is your interpretation of this?
Idemoli, for us to have what we call misuse of state machinery, it is very important to distinguish the levels of the cabinet ministers. Whether a cabinet minister has been appointed from a political arena or from a professional arena, he has his limits and territories. And territories, nobody can stop any minister to advocate the policies and the administrative ways of how the achievement of the government. But there is this overstepping mandate of politicking, that you take politics that what Mudavadi is doing in Malava. That is politicking, and that is out of order, completely out of order, and that is what completely should be dismissed. People should lead within their lines, because when you use government machineries like V8, fuels, and everything, and cash, that is misuse of taxpayers' money. And therefore, there has to be that demarcation where any cabinet minister should be within his territory and should not overstep to any campaign. And this means even in the trial of the presidential campaign, they should step out of that completely. But nobody stops them from setting the policies of the ministries. But what they does not do, we have not been seeing themselves walking within where their steps are.
Okay, because I think what the Constitution envisaged is that by not electing or appointing members of parliament to the cabinet, that probably the cabinet positions would be left to technocrats, not really politicians. But the last two presidents, Uhuru Kenyatta and now William Ruto, have still gone back to politicians. Could that be the problem, that a politician will always be a politician, whether in cabinet or outside?
True. I agree with you. Yes, a politician will always be a politician. But give it to them. They passed the law, which they are calling the conflict of interest. Did they read section 25, subsection 1 of that act, which says that a cabinet secretary and a CEC in the county government are exempt? They can do politics. The other ones, section 51 of that conflict of interest act repealed the Public Officers Ethics Act, which expressly prohibited. Did they read Article 77, sub-article 1 of the Constitution, which said that any public officer should not hold a position in a political party? What was the intendment? What was the mischief supposed to be cured, or at least tempered by that provision of the Constitution? What did the Kenyan people want when passing that particular article? They wanted to demarcate. That line of demarcation was supposed to be permanent. That if you are in government, you're supposed to serve everyone without any political affiliation. But what has happened? They passed under the lure of Kenya Kwanza government, under the enticements of the Kenya Kwanza government in the Senate. And the EACC lamented. So when you talk about public participation, they said, we are the directly affected people. And you look at that particular, have you looked at section 27, for instance? It tells you you are gagged for 2 good years.
Allow me to ask this question. Can any other provision, whether passed by houses of parliament or not, supersede provisions of the Constitution?
But there's no express provision that tells you that. It just tells you that you cannot be elected. You cannot be appointed as a member of the cabinet if you are in a member of a political party. I mean, that's as far as it goes. So they wanted to weave round about that. And then you see, it says in section 25, subsection 1 of that the Conflict of Interest Act, because the Public Officers Ethics Act was repealed by this particular law. And section 25.1 says all public officers are barred from articulating any political, affiliated policy or whatever it is, except a cabinet secretary and a CEC. Okay. So they are the ones who passed that law, and now you're hearing that. So I really would support this sort of, position. And there is a petition that has been filed specifically targeting that section 25. But I think even that petition is a bit limited because it ought to target section 27. Section 27 says that you as a public
Conflict
officer,
of Interest Act.
The Conflict of Interest Act. I mean, this is a shoddy law. If you read it, even look at the schedule of that law, it tells you that you're a public officer and you're supposed to be giving your declaration to the EACC. You can just submit your document online without your signature. Hello? Where is accountability in that? And they passed that. And they say that you can have even, sort of documentation uploaded. So I mean, this is endorsement of illegalities that you have there. Section 27 gags you as a public officer for 2 good years. You can't say anything about your former employer. I mean, those are absurd provisions that you wonder. They had a perfectly good law in the Public Officers Ethics Act, and it had codes that, if you contravened, then of course the EACC would come for you. And that was supposed to be reining in this sort of conduct that they are lamenting. But having said that, Section 25 still bars the IG, for instance, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, for instance, from doing politics. So they're in the class of that public or state officer that is expressly barred, come what may. But as we speak, let me rehash this again for the disappointment of the Kenyan people. They were let down by the parliament, both the Senate and the National Assembly, in the passage of the Conflict of Interest Act. Have a look at it. Section 25 is as rotten as can be because it's allowing ACCs. And nobody's going to take them to court. Nobody is going to, unless that law is either repealed or declared unconstitutional by our courts.
Yes.
That is, I mean, there's no escape route to that. They will go, and then they will say, we are campaigning for UDA people. I mean, it's right there. I mean, they are given permission. It's by law. They are not. They are not. They're in a state of conflict of interest. Granted, that's a given. But they're saying, oh, the law protects me. I mean, look, it was passed by them in Parliament, and it was endorsed and signed into law by the president. What are you telling me? So they can go to the rooftops and announce the good, in spite of what we know about UDA, and then tell you that you
He knows all these flaws about the law. What has he done about it?
Taken it to court.
Under Article 119 of the Constitution, have you taken action?
Okay, ignorance of the law is no defense. Kenyan people should not be complaining if at all the law does exist allowing cabinet secretaries and CECs to get involved in politics. Did we shoot ourselves in the foot?
Exactly. Because actually the people who are complaining most is the politicians themselves, like members of parliament. They are saying that the minister or so-and-so is not supposed to be involved in politics. Then you ask yourself, who is talking? Because members of parliament are categorized as state officers. They are public officers. Because Article 260 defines who are public officers. Actually, from the president, the deputy, chief justice, attorney general, the next is a member of parliament. He's a state officer. So why is he in public talking? If the minister can't, if public officers are not supposed to politic out there, so why is the member of parliament politicking? And at that particular moment, he is in office. And there is somebody out there who is also hiring to be a member of parliament. So him is taking advantage because he has everything, he has resources, he has CDF, he has whatever to talk about, and the person who is coming to oppose him, he has got nothing. So who is using the resources more? Is it not also the members of parliament? They are. So let us be honest to ourselves. If you have a log in your eye, don't look at a speck in your friend's eye.
What about the police IG?
On the issue of the police, that is a no-go zone, because police are supposed to be liberal. They are supposed to be agile. Any government in power, they support. And they are not, okay, individually as human beings, as Kenyans, they have a constitutional right to make a choice who they can vote for. But not to advocate or to campaign for any person or any candidate.
Not even the current president.
Not the current. They can be loyal. Loyalty is something else. Because you are loyal and you submit to your boss. And at this particular moment, any government which is in office, it's the boss. So that one, you show loyalty and the support. But politically, you are supposed to be free. Not this side, not that side. Okay. That not taking away your right of choosing who you want to choose. But you are not supposed to advocate for any person. It's just like a referee. Because police is like a referee. Just like a referee celebrating when Arsenal win, when they are playing against Manchester. What does that mean? Okay. You cannot do that as a politician, as a police
Yet,
officer.
general sentiment is that probably this should not be the way. They should steer clear of politics. Does it mean that we need to relook at some of the pieces of legislation that have already been passed? Do you agree? Or from where you sit, having worked with the cabinet secretary, you feel that let's allow them to...
Indimuli, at what point do we decide that this is politics and this is not? First of all, there is no constitutional provision that has defined what politics is.
Campaigning for a candidate for a by-election?
We are not in the campaigns. Okay, if you're talking about the by-elections, like I stated, if a cabinet secretary or a police officer goes to a certain constituency, he'll just be carrying out those duties just the way he can carry out duties in another constituency.
A campaign rally?
It's just a conversation with the people. Like now, if you're telling them to keep order, that's not a campaign rally. It's just informing them, playing his duties when he has found an opportunity to talk to the people.
Why are they not going to the other camp to keep order?
But again, in politics, interestingly, everything that I do, there's this mantra that everything that I do is good. And if another person does exactly what I'm doing and is opposing me, then it is wrong.
Yes.
You realize that most of these people who are talking about the people taking part in politics, the other day were the ones who were doing the same thing. I remember when we were campaigning for the Right Honorable Raila Odinga during the Azimio campaigns. Everybody was involved in politics. We were campaigning, and that was full-fledged campaigns. Right now, we are not in a general election. Mm-hmm. So why is it that people are so much on the case of cabinet secretaries getting involved in activities that are so similar to what they were involved in the last election?
Because of time, Bonagakuya, the ball is back to your court, that you're the people who passed this legislation. Why are you complaining after when the same is now working?
In fact, even though the law is there, it does not advocate any cabinet minister to use what we call state resources for such action. I think this is totally wrong. There's no way that you can transact with the GK or a vehicle that is fueled by the state money and move to a campaign using government resources. That is wrong. Number two, in case, I think what is being advocated by the law, that if you belong to a political party, you may not hold a particular office. What happened is that one requires by the law to resign. And that's how Kidiki did, where he was a party member of the UDA. But by the time he was appointed to the position he is, he resigned. And therefore, I don't believe that there is any even cabinet minister who is allowed by the law still to be playing a role in a political party. And at the same time, he's a cabinet minister. You must relinquish your position in a political party so that you can access to be appointed to become a cabinet minister. Those are the thresholds, and I think if they are followed to the letter, nothing can go mixed. Things can work.
Is this one of those issues where we might need to seek an interpretation of the Constitution and what it talks about, this maybe before the Supreme Court or before the courts of law, that it's still very clear. Many Kenyans probably would agree with this headline, keep off politics, but there's a provision in the law that allows it.
You see, for me, I have absolutely no clue why Section 23 of the Leadership and Integrity Act was overridden by that Section 25 of the Conflict of Interest Act. What does Section 23 of the Leadership and Integrity Act say? It provides that a public officer shall be neutral in all political matters. It actually speaks of political neutrality. That section was not repealed. So that is what is contemplated within the provisions of Article 79 of the Constitution, other than the EACC Act. Excuse me. The problem I see is that there was a drive to get rid of the one piece of legislation, and I think they forgot that there's another piece of contemporaneous legislation known as the Leadership and Integrity Act. So what they did was to knock off the Public Officers Ethics Act, which they then use as a springboard to incept now this Section 25 of Section 1, where they say the MPs, the cabinet secretaries and the CCs are exempt from that provision. But they forgot the Leadership and Integrity Act still is intact. So that may be resolved in this particular constitutional petition in the sense that when you look at the spirit and the tenor of the Constitution, that you need to have that demarcation of politics in public service. And why discriminate? Why is it everybody else? Every other public officer is told that, look, you have that inhibition. You cannot go into a political platform and begin articulating whatever you want to articulate as a public officer. But when it comes now to the CECs and the cabinet secretaries, they are exempt. Article 27(4) of the Constitution tells you you cannot discriminate. So if you have one class of people known as public officers, this law applies to all of them. So in my humble view, still we have a right as a Kenyan people to say there's a law known as Section 23 of the Leadership and Integrity Act that demands you, the IG, you, the CEC, Honorable Kipchumba, to be neutral in your dispensation of whatever it is in your portfolio that you are then administering to the Kenyan people. And you're using taxpayers. And these taxpayers do not come from your UDA. They are from all political spectrums, including they who are not even affiliated to any political party. And therefore, because of that, you're supposed to be neutral and then deliver. But I see this, as I close, I see this invocation of Section 25, subsection 1, of the Conflict of Interest Act by the UDA-affiliated CEC or the Kenya Kwanza government as a desperate means, because now they can see the Kenyan people don't want to hear your policies. And so they're coming to say that, oh, you know, my department, my ministry is engaged in this sort of thing. He's supposed to be in this. No.
Gives his own opinion and then declares it.
But I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm drawing from what is going on on the ground. That seems to sting you. I don't know why that's stinging you. Because, I mean...
A personal opinion.
Absolutely. And I'm allowed to share this with the Kenyan. And I was winding up so that I can give Honorable Joe the platform. And the point that I'm making is this is an act of desperation. And so they say that, we were going to invoke and clutch onto Section 25, subsection 1 of this law that we bulldozed and allowed and blindfolded these senators and honorable members of the National Assembly not to see that it is going to yield this sort of scenario. But they are accosted by this Section 23 of the Leadership Integrity. What would they do? Right. What would they do? You can actually take them to court.
And they have been taken.
And you can take them to court for breaching that particular section.
Let's do hope, as Wakili, you said, that the court will give an interpretation on what should be happening and the kind of laws that are already in place. Are they in conflict on this particular issue? Keep off politics. That's a big one on the front page of the Standard. As you make your final comments, and I think we only have less than 2 minutes for each one of you, I want us now to look at the regional politics. Yes, Tanzania, a big one, elections, Bwana Mutambu. And interestingly, we've tried to sample quite a wide array of papers in Tanzania. They do have 17 candidates for president. But over the last 60 days, only one candidate is allowed to feature on the front page of the newspapers, and that's Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan. No other candidate can actually appear on the front pages. I do not know, probably it's purely coincidence, but you could comment on what to expect in Tanzania, even as we also take note of what's happening in Cameroon. Paul Biya elected for an 8th term at the age of 92. Bwana Mutambu.
You know, what is happening in Tanzania is a shame to democracy, because the moment you detain key opponents or the moment you arrest people who seem to be strong to oppose you, then that is an insult to democracy. That is what is happening in Tanzania. And Tanzanians, they've been quiet for too long, but recently they've been waking up, maybe learning from Kenya. They are now waking up. And I don't see Samia losing, because she's the one who has been out there to the public, and he made Tanzanians to believe that it is only her who can lead them. The Tanzanians were not given that freedom to allow views from other people who have dissenting opinion from the government. So that's what I'm saying, it's a shame to democracy. If they uphold democracy, they could have led other people. And that has even happened, even here in Kenya, we have seen it. And also in other African countries. Actually, democracy in Africa is yet to mature to a point whereby now the sitting regimes can give free hand or free space to any other opposition leaders who want to come in. Some, yes, they are working well. We have seen some perform very well, when it comes to democracy. We have seen Kenya being very strong. But our neighbors, Tanzania, Uganda, you try to wake up, the only thing which you are treated to is police brutality or military brutality. And that's what is happening in most of these countries. I don't know whether we should treat Africa like the kingdoms of China or Dubai, all those other areas where there are no elections. It is family thing.
China is not a kingdom.
Okay. China is not a kingdom, but I'm talking about places like in Dubai and all those areas, whereby when I die, my son takes...
One man rule.
And yes. Should we treat it, or do we want democracy? If we want democracy, then we have to give it space to work.
But even in comparison to Tanzania, Uganda, if you look at the papers, and that's what we do, we look at the papers, at least they feature at least four of the candidates, including Yoweri Museveni, and they say what each one has done, and that's the top four candidates. Are we saying that Tanzania is way behind?
For me, I think I look at it from a Kenyan context and say that we are very lucky, or we can say that we are privileged to occupy a position that is democratic as opposed to many other African countries that say lag behind. I was in Tanzania last week, and everywhere could only see posters of one candidate. And it reminded me of the 1977 MPR referendum where Mobutu Sese Seko declared that they were going to seek approval. Remember the famous song by Franco of saying there is only one candidate, Mobutu Sese Seko. So these countries that are not well democratized to the standard of Kenya are like what Zaire was at that time. When you see what is happening in Cameroon, there's no likelihood that there's anything democratic ongoing. It's just someone trying to affirm himself as a permanent dictator of the republic. Same case with Uganda, someone running against himself. So for us, I think as Kenyans, we should be thankful, especially to our democratic fathers of democracy, including the just departed Right Honorable Raila Odinga, for the role they played in putting us where we are in terms of democratic gains that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Bwana Gakuya, what's your assessment of what's happening in Tanzania?
In fact, it has been a nice show, taking into consideration that we assessed the campaign trail of Tanzania, and we could witness a lot of brutality, especially for those Kenyan activists who met a very strong brutality in that particular region. That tells you that, in fact, the administration there was totally sure that, in fact, they don't want any outsider to interfere with the internal matters. And therefore, they were sealed to make sure that, in fact, one CCM candidate, Suruhu, has no any other outside influence that may bring that strength of opposition in that particular region. To date, there is that opposition candidate who was locked in, and even his party was locked from competing. That is totally dictatorship. And what I would say, as much as Tanzania has grown economically very speedily, it's also important to give people their freedom and democracy to exercise in terms of leadership, and given a freedom to elect and choose their candidates without those what we call battered government forces. It is long, and equally in what we witnessed in Cameroon, it's also naive to have the route of the late president of Southern Africa country, who was I don't remember his name, but it is long. In fact, to cling to power, 8 terms until when you are 92, and even you have not stepped to a campaign trail, and yet you find yourself in the victory. That is a bullish. It is long. That allow people to exercise their democracy. And in this case, I can tell you, this is pure dictatorship, which is enriched in the roots of state machinery. And therefore, I would say, in Africa, let us have very current kind of constitutions that can be able to offer alternatives, other than that old constitutions that actually are fixed under the dictatorship traditions. I think we are past that time, and Africa, it's high time we should rise up and allow democracy to be exercised.
Yes, ironically, we always call upon the president or the former leaders of Tanzania or Uganda to come to our aid when we're in political conflict. What does that say about us, if at all our democracy is any better? Wakili.
Mimi nawapa hongera na pongezi wa Tanzania wote ambao watajiunga pamoja kwenda kumchagua Mama Suluhu. Manake wengi wanaohubiri demokrasia wao ni vibaraka wa mbeberu. What do I mean? In Tanzania, I think Magufuli did an excellent job of undoing the mess of the mining sector that had been invaded and taken over by colonialists. And what he did was to say that, look, you cannot come to Tanzania and mine our minerals and give us pennies. And in so doing, he has opened this economic floodgate of Tanzania's growth. Under him was Samia Suluhu. And so she learned a lesson that, look, for you to steer the ship of the country and be able to contain the hemorrhage of its resources, you need a firm hand. And then she became cognizant of the fact that you have external forces that are very keen on stealing, and I dare say stealing, the way they're doing in the Congo, Tanzania's resources. And Tanzania has, rich resources. And I really applaud her for taking over from where late Magufuli, they assassinated Magufuli because of his COVID-19 stance, left off. And I want to say with tremendous respect to they who say that, we are seeing the propping up of a dictatorship in Samia Suluhu. I beg to differ. In fact, Samia Suluhu is good enough to say that, look, let us demarcate the lines that we have of your so-called democracy, and I say that with tremendous respect. You who come to lecture us, and I'm talking about the Western powers, you're no different. You use your media, your CNN, your Sky News, and whatever it is to prop up the people you want. Look at Canada, for instance. You have a prime minister who was, quote unquote, elected, who is a disciple, an acolyte of the World Economic Forum, just like his predecessor. Look at what is happening in California. Did the Californians elect a former World Economic Forum acolyte? But he was propped up. Nobody dare say anything. And look at the shenanigans that happened in the 2020 elections in the US. What happened? The whole media was backing Joe Biden. And then that's how this fake media and stuff propped up with, the current President Trump. And so by people saying that, we have all these splashing of the news about Samia Suluhu, what's different? It's not different. So they are using this hypocrisy because they are unhappy that Samia Suluhu has stood her ground, has refused to go and undo those same mining contracts. And you ask a question, that how is it that, the Kenyan leaders go back to this former president of Tanzania? I mean, that is in the past now. That is in the past. So really, for anybody to say that, there is a stifling of democracy in Tanzania, let's look at the voices. Where are they coming from? The Western powers were unhappy that they have been cut off the mining concessions they used to have. Are the people propping up that sort of voice?
All right. Thank you, Wakili. And I know you want to comment on this. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
I know.
We're already into the next section of the show.
Tanzania is like my second home.
Yes.
And what we need to look at is what is the feeling of the people and what is Samia accused of.
Okay.
I cannot equate diamonds, gold, whatever, with people's life.
Okay.
And there's a lot of cases of what is happening in Tanzania, like what is happening in Kenya.
Okay, thank you.
People missing their life, people getting abducted, people being killed. And when you trace it, it goes back to the leadership. That this is the issues. And that's why we are saying we need other people to come and talk about it. Let me tell you, it is not only Samia Suluhu who can bring sanity to the country economically. Right. There are also other people.
Thank you so much.
And they should be given space also to hear their views.
Joe Mutambu, former MP Mwingi Central, Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui, MP Embakasi North, James Gakuya, and former NC Former political commentator. Thank you so much for your time at T47 and for your very well-considered opinions on the issues that we've been discussing, including the elections in Tanzania, which are happening in less than 24 hours. A lot more happening in Kenya. Keep off politics, that's a standard. Trump aid freeze triggers HIV crisis, that's a Daily Nation. We do not have time to go through all the dailies this morning, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is a state of the nation. Good morning.